This viewer comment made me realize that I haven't done a detailed breakdown of my track plan of my new layout, and I really should do that. So let's do that today, guys. Hey everybody, I'm Jimmy. I'm drinking some peppermint holiday coffee, black with 2 sugars, and this is Coffee and Trains. This is my current layout that I am building now. I designed this whole thing in Scarm. Scarm is my designer of choice. There are many out there. It's just the one that I like. There is a free version of Scarm. I'm using the paid version as well as the Model Railroad Simulator Power Edition to do all the simulations that you are about to see, as well as showing you that. So I'll link that all in the description below. But let's get right into this. So my layout is an L shape. It's based on 2 hollow core doors, one right here and one right here. Both those doors are 30 inches wide by 80 inches long. And one of them is the section from the original DDRR 3.0 that I was going to build that was going to be nothing but a hollow core door section. And then I was able to move into this room right here, and I had a little bit more space to work with, and I decided to build a bigger layout. Now, if you've been with the channel for a long time, you know that this is a modification and improvement of the original DDRR model railroad. So what basically the DDRR is, it has a industrial section over here with a yard and some industries right here. And then it has a more scenic mountain section. It does have a couple of industries, but it's really just meant to watch your trains run. And this really kind of sums up what I like in model railroading. I like doing operations, I like doing switching, but I also like doing rail fanning. So this thing is set up to continuously run, and it also has some switching operations that you can actually do in isolation of the main line. So that is my basic design. I also have 2 exit points for any future expansion or staging or anything like that right here. I basically give the thought of, like, yes, you have the main line on this, but let's say the main line comes from somewhere off layout, goes right through here, and then heads out this way, and this is a little cut off to go back into this area where you have the little yard and things like that. But you'll notice that I have these going in opposite directions. This is so that a train can enter and exit easily without having to reverse its direction. That's why I have the turnout here and the turnout here, and who knows, I may do something later on. But let's go ahead and hop into the 3D view. As I said, I do have the train controller and the model train simulator on, so let's hop into the 3D view and go over each area. All right, so this is my layout right here, and the first thing I'm going to do actually is, and this is one thing I really love about Scarm, is this simulator. I'm going to go ahead and power on the layout, and we're just going to let trains run while we're talking about it. So I'm going to have this mainline locomotive. We're going to start her up, and we're just going to let that train run around while we're talking about this. So let's go ahead and start right here. One thing that I wanted in a new model railroad was a yard. I think yard operations are very interesting, and they add a whole lot to a model railroad. But I knew that I wasn't going to have the room for just a regular yard with a yard ladder or anything like that. So I have this little stub-in yard right here. So this is my yard. It has 4 tracks for storage, and it also has a RIP/locomotive storage track. I know typically those are separate, but with just spatial compression, I decided that I could make those the same. And you saw me design the buildings for this. I will link that at the end of this video. And let's see here. Let's go ahead, and we have these double crossovers, which are going to be the entry and exit points for this little inner loop, which is partial yard lead, partial branch to these industries over here. Now over here, I'm going to have 3 industries total. One's going to be my chemical plant that I've designed, and the other 2 are going to be some sort of warehouse, logistics facility, something like that. But they're just going to have box cars and things like that, and you're going to have tank cars, several different types of tank cars coming into the chemical plant right here. So that is what I'm looking at right here, and you can see the train coming in on the outer loop. This is the 315 millimeter radii from Kato, which is a little over 12 inches. I can't remember off the top of my head what exactly it is. And then the inner loop is the 282 millimeter, which is 11 and change. So that is this area over here. It's really going to be more industrial. I'm trying to figure out some different ways to do this. And I have this nice little ridge line right here that leads into the mountain, and then this is going to be a rock face, and it's going to have puffball trees all over, and you can see that I have my road right here, my double crossing, and that's really just going to be more of an access road to these areas. And then I also have the continuous loop running around here. I'm going to have to do some interesting signaling right here, and then I also have a double crossover over here coming out of this grade. Now, I know some people are going to say that this tight turn coming straight into a crossover is just asking for trouble, but I tested it. It's okay. It's not the most prototypical thing in the world, but it works fine. So this was the original stopping point of the layout when I started to build it, was this basically just make that a line right there. So it was going to be on one door and all that. So then I got access to this room and decided that I wanted to make the layout bigger and make it L-shaped. So I designed and I designed and I designed and I designed and I designed, and I could not find one that made me happy. So I thought about what was the last track plan that I really liked, and that was the DDRR 1.0. It had a little bit of everything that I like in model railroading. So I decided to go back to it and see if I could attach this original section of the DDRR 1.0 to the DDRR 3.0 to make the new DDRR 3.0. So basically I was smart, and this is something I always recommend, is leave some places for your trains to go for future expansion. So I had these tracks already going to the edges right here. So all I had to do was do the track planning here so that it connected, and voila, I now have the revised DDRR 1.0 or the DDRR 3.0. And you can see the whole plan right there. So let's go over some of the cool things of the DDRR 1.0's new section, or the DDRR 3.0's new section. Now, here I do have that split off from the main. There will be a signal here, just a clearance signal that's going to be wired to this turnout. I'm going to have some of these turnouts electrified and be able to be remote controlled. And then I also have this bridge. This is going to be the real signature scene of the model railroad right here. This is going to be this bridge over. It's already got some rocks right here, and I got to do some more detailing, but right over the town right here, it's going to be a nice little area. And hopefully let's see the train. Yeah, the train's almost right there, so you can really see what it's going to look like. So when these trains are passing over and under it, it's going to look really cool. And I'll tell you guys, I just bought a lot of well cars for container and intermodal trains, so that's going to be interesting. So the next thing of this feature is the other exit point of the main line right here, which the train's going to come in, and it literally just stub ends right now. So that was actually a last minute add after I was already placing track. So that's just going to be in case I want to expand more, if I get some more space, or I want to do something else. I already have the connection points in place. And then it's going to come around this. This is about a 2.3, 2.5% grade, somewhere right around there, this whole grade all the way up. And it comes into this town. And you guys have seen the buildings you've seen where I build the town and things like that. And then I also have two industries. And I'm going to have this one, which is going to be a concrete batch plant right here, and I'm 3D printing that. And then this is going to be essentially a finished lumber yard right here, and this is a project that I just did for my most recent episode of Jimmy's Train Works on Train Masters TV, talking about foreground industries. So you can check that out over on Train Masters TV, but you'll see that on my layout now, because it is complete and it looks really good and I'm really happy with it. So we're going to head back through town right here, and then we cross this girder bridge, or this nice bridge right here. I really like Kato Unitrack's bridges that they offer because it takes a lot of guesswork out of things. So really nice bridge here. And then we go down this grade. Now this is where I really had to kind of fudge a little bit of realism here. This is a 4% grade, but it's going to add a challenge to the layout, because if you're coming this way with a big train, you're either going to have more than one locomotive pulling, you're going to have a consist pulling, or you're going to have to do helper operations. So it's a nice little thing that I didn't intend to have originally when I was doing this, but it worked out really well. So, but it's a very tight grade. But you guys have seen me building this big mountain. It's almost done. Then I'm going to start working on this mountain, but it's going to be a really nice way to snake through and disappear. And then it comes back down around to here, and I'm going to go over some of the turnout configurations of the industrial area right here, because I do have something a little weird. All right, so first of all, there's 2 turnouts that exit off of the main to go to the industry. So you come in the double crossover, and then you would go to these turnouts, which exit. Now, this turnout has access to 2 industries. It has the chemical plant, which has 2 sidings right here, and then it has some other logistics warehouse type facility that's right here. Now, the other one, this is not... I have some headcanon for this, but of the way that this works, so the history of the made-up history of my railroad. So the made-up history of my railroad is that this originally was a line that was connected right here. This is where the railroad went, and this was just an industry right here. But they needed to do something where they needed to rebuild. Like originally it hooked around right here. But they needed to do something, they were either upgrading or something, and they had to build a whole new line that came around. And so someone didn't do something right, and they built this whole thing, and they realized, we have no way to get here. So they just slapped a turnout, and they put an extra spur right here so you can back in. The reason that I did it in reality is that it makes it a bit more challenging for operations, because you only have so many cars that you can pull back here and then go here to switch. So makes it a little bit more fun and more challenging there, but that's my realistic canon, is that someone just did a bad job of designing the track to adjust for the new track that they had laid. So that is my layout. I really, really like it, and if you guys like it, I am going to have it in the description. I'm going to have a photo of it in the description. I'm going to have a full parts list in the description. That will all be linked, so definitely check that out. The projects that I mentioned that do have videos are all going to be linked at the end screen at the end of this video, so be sure to check those out. Talk about some of the coffees you guys are drinking. David Poulsen says that it is Folgers coffee for him. That sounds very delicious. Mark L says Chameleon coffee, Guatemala roast, no cream or sugar, straight black. Sounds really, really good. And Chris Mitchell says no coffee for him, just some apple cider. Well, it's a good holiday drink. I do want to say thank you to all of my patrons. They are listed right here. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. A lot of cool stuff going on over there. Link in the description below to check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out those videos right here at the end. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, drink some coffee, and happy railroading.